All right, ladies and gentlemen, another beautiful day in Honolulu. Booyah. I'm Christopher Greene. It is, of course, Friday, September 8th, 2023. Today, we're going to watch a video. I'm going to play a short clip from RFK Jr., presidential candidate running for 2024, has this to say about BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, a conglomerate of sorts, an oligarchical life force that essentially owns up to 89% of the S&P 500 and has an intended literal goal, according to him, of owning and buying all of the single-family residential homes out from under you in America by 2030. On its current pace, BlackRock and these other companies, these entities, will own some 60% of all single-family homes. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
More importantly, there's three giant corporations, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, which own collectively, they own each other, so it's really one giant corporation, but they also own 89% of the S&P 500. They own everything. They've now decided to buy every single family home in America. So if they stay on the current trajectory, they will own 60% of the homes in this country, single family homes, by 2030. They literally are trying to buy everything. And the head of it, Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is on the board of the World Economic Forum. And what they've said, we want this great reset, which is you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, they're on their way to making sure that we don't own anything. So you all probably have heard of people who are about to buy a home, and somebody comes in at the last minute with a cash offer and snatches it out of the market.
Right.
And it's usually an LLC with an ambiguous name. But if you trace that up, you'll find it's owned by BlackRock.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly why I started and founded the Island Project, because they've told you many times before, as they've parroted and basically predictively programmed all of us, that you will own nothing and be happy, that this is the stated goal of these three-letter organizations. It's exactly what they are doing. As we've seen in recent years with the lockdowns and a lot of the fear that was out there and the prohibition of travel and the shutdown of non-essential businesses and the job losses. And now what we're experiencing today, just hyperinflation. In fact, that was been one of my major predictions, was that housing would continue to go up without abatement. And in fact, we just got news from the Wall Street Journal today that they say that the dip in housing, which there never was one, is over, and that prices are actually appreciating once again throughout the United States of America and worldwide. Again, this is the goal. This is what's happening. This is what's going to happen next. And this is why, of course, I've democratized access to home ownership, real asset ownership of the number one trophy asset in the world here in Maui and also Oahu. Booyah. Also, Elon Musk in the news today. Very interesting. He's being accused of halting a drone strike and attack on the Russian fleet in the Crimean Peninsula earlier this year. He's being accused of turning off Starlink satellites so that the Ukrainian government, along with the US government, which is currently donating billions and billions of dollars to Zelensky, a non-NATO figure in a non-NATO country, to go fight this war against Russia, and prohibiting them from using his Starlink technology to carry out an air drone attack and other forms of attacks. It could include submarine drones and other forms of technology. Now, this brings up some very interesting points. Number one, it is startling to think that a single human being has this much control and power over a host of companies that isn't just including Starlink, but also Tesla. And that it's explicitly suggesting that this one dude, just with the press of a button, because he thinks so, can turn off an entire infrastructure of war technology simply at the click of his hand. Number one, how is it that one individual would be even allowed to do this? As I've mentioned before, do you really think that you could just buy Twitter, for example, just because you're a billionaire without the approval of government officials and everyone on Wall Street? There's no way and no reason for them to give you access to a single guy or gal just because they're rich. It would be considered a threat to national security. What's interesting about this, that Elon Musk actually warns in his own words that the reason why he's taken his stance on Ukraine, where he kind of wants to be agnostic on the war, if that's to be believed, is because he truly believes that we are on the verge of nuclear war, a World War III event and Armageddon, where major U.S. cities could be vaporized by Russia as a result of NATO and Ukraine's attack on Crimea. So think about this for a minute. You have one of the most powerful people in the world claiming that we're at the edge of the abyss, that World War III is here, that he fears a nuclear attack, which would be the worst case scenario we could ever experience, far worse than the last couple of years and the treacherous pandemic. And you know my opinion on that. And a guy who single-handedly has this much power and control over billions of populations. I mean, I want you to think about for a minute that an EMP goes off, something that I believe will happen in American City at some point in the future, let's say in Los Angeles, God forbid. Does that mean that Elon Musk, because he thinks it's the right thing to do, turns off all the self-driving cars in other cities, maybe say in Dallas, Texas, or Detroit, or something like that, because he thinks that that is the right move? Maybe it lowers his company's legal liability because, of course, if an EMP goes off in Los Angeles, all these self-driving cars won't be able to communicate and they'll just start driving off cliffs. Which brings up another great point. As we saw, I personally witnessed in Maui, as we saw with the tragic events in Lahaina, that none of these friggin' electric Teslas worked. In fact, nobody could use their Tesla because there was no power. The grid had gone down. In fact, there's still not internet in many parts of West Side Maui. Even to this day, it's over a month later, there's still no communications or cell towers up in many areas. So not only have we seen this technology fail, and we see these algorithms fail, but we have a guy who can actually turn it off at his leisure. What if this power, let's say Elon Musk was replaced by an evil figure, because I know many people like Elon Musk, but let's say something happened to Elon Musk, God forbid, and he was just replaced, or he steps down from the company. Does that mean that another individual, let's say because he doesn't like your politics or your religion, maybe you're a Christian, decides to turn off your Tesla and prohibit you from movement or travel? Also in the news today, we see Proud Boys receiving decade-long, pretty much life sentences without parole on what they call conspiracy charges. It's specifically called, quote unquote, seditious conspiracy. What is that? What does that even mean? Seriously, the guy that got a 22-year sentence today, his name is Tario, I think, didn't even attend January 6th, but he's a seditious conspiracy theorist. Like, are they going to start using that? Are the Democrats going to use that against average Republicans, conservatives, Christians, maybe even Trump supporters in the future and just call you a seditious conspiracy theorist? You know who also was a seditious conspiracy theorist? George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Paul Revere, and all of the founding fathers. The only difference was they actually won the revolution and restored and started the constitutional republic here in the United States. Again, all of these stories that I highlighted today prove, number one, why it's so important what we're doing here at islandproject.com. It's why I've launched our multi-million-dollar portfolio, soon to launch and tokenize the portfolio on a multi-billion-dollar blockchain. We've democratized access to the best real asset in the world. With just as little as $30,000, you can own beachfront on Maui, in Oahu, in Waikiki, in Kahala, in all of these amazing spots without being a billionaire, without being BlackRock or Vanguard or State Street. And as we look at other stories like the one with Elon Musk, proving the point that a single dude has this much concentrated oligarchical power that he can legitimately, according to these people, interfere with the Department of Defense, the DOD, the Pentagon, and their war efforts. Something about that doesn't make sense. And I think you know my real opinion on that, especially since the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and those, along with Musk, that started PayPal, although that's arguable, actually directly work with the DOD and Pentagon today. Peter Thiel, for example, actually owns a company that works directly with U.S. warfare and intelligence and surveillance gathering, which aids the war effort on the ground. Just like other figures like Eric Schmidt, who I've met in person, used to work at Google as one of the most powerful figures, and then spun off that to go work at the DOD and the Defense Innovation Board. And now he's the head of various AI and artificial warfare technologies. And he himself says the United States is light years, I'm paraphrasing a bit, behind China in their war technologies in space. We see the revealing of UFOs and the fact that little green men might be possible, another psyop, and a psychological operation that they're pushing down the throats of the American people, which was the reason why, in my view, Donald Trump started the Space Force in the first place, because of all these different and various technologies that they currently have in their possession. Just like we've known for years through declassified reports like Operation Mockingbird, that central intelligence agencies here in the United States directly interfere and work hand in hand with Hollywood studios, politicians, and mainstream media figures. In fact, many people, and very few actually know, that Tucker Carlson, for example, who I have my opinion on and support many of his politics and the things that he's doing to expose the corruption of the Obama administration, had actually applied to work for the CIA in his early days. But then, on the judgment of his father, was encouraged to move into journalism instead. Have you ever applied for the CIA? Also, we look at other notable figures like Anderson Cooper, who did a brief stint, I think, as an intern. It was either the CIA or I think the FBI or both, or maybe one of them, who also became a very powerful figure in mainstream media, CNN fake news propaganda. And so to think that this still isn't happening, that the people that you're following online, on Twitter, that have now since moved from Fox News suddenly after, 10 years wearing a suit and tie, but have gone rogue now on Twitter and exposing the truth, when they've actually applied, we at the very least know, for Central Intelligence, just like many Hollywood actors today work with the CIA. And that's been going on for years, whether or not it was John Wayne or even famous athletes that are highly connected into the Masonic hierarchy. In fact, Duke Kahonomoko, an amazing and really prized, not just athlete, but Hawaiian figure here in Honolulu, which there's a statue you can see on Waikiki Beach, was actually like one of the highest up Freemasons. Interesting. You see, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is new under the sun. The truth is, I think you know my opinion, that we are on the verge of really total destruction. That not only is Elon Musk right about nuclear warfare, but the events that you've seen in the last couple of years will pale in comparison to what's coming. Because giant corporations that own Wall Street, 89% of the S&P 500, that are actively buying your homes and your assets aren't going to stop. And it's why, in my view, you should peacefully organize in a productive way that is an actual solution to get your cash flows up, for large potential capital gains, for a tokenized event that could potentially, make you a multi-millionaire, as we've seen with many cryptocurrency technologies, and to form like-minded groups like the Island Project and build your own digital Noah's Ark today. So I encourage you to do that as we live through end times, as more problems lie ahead, as Joe Biden has now been diagnosed, and we see masks being put back on your children's faces at public schools. I encourage you to homeschool. I encourage you to build your homestead. I encourage you to activate now and act now by clicking the link below at islandproject.com and fund directly in the members tab your 30K minimum, your 50K minimum, your 150K, your 250K, and own a real asset that BlackRock doesn't want you to own. And do it with us and my world-class, outstanding, unparalleled team that includes my father, John Greene, Vice President, and my team of consultants. Because I am General Greene, and I've been doing this near 17 years, and I always tell you the truth. But not only do I deliver the news and the media, and I'm way, even generations and decades ahead of the curve, but I also provide you with a tangible solution to improve your life. Doesn't freaking X! Doesn't freaking X! To the freaking moon! IslandProject.com. Like and share this video. IslandProject.com on how to onboard in less than 5 minutes to our world-class opportunity, the first fractional real estate opportunity in the world. Flagship one here, of course, in Maui, beautiful Hawaii. First thing you want to do is go to islandproject.com. That is islandproject.com. That's our official website to onboard the digital Noah's Ark. Click and navigate to the membership tab in the top right-hand corner. Once you get to the membership tab and click it, you will see a screen here that says our holding company, Isle Chain Holdings, LLC. The details of the investment itself. We are, of course, a private placement, not available to the public. We are a Reg D 506 filing. Issuer is Isle Chain Holdings, LLC. There is a 30 unit minimum, 30 shares minimum, or 30,000. You will spend the next 5 minutes entering your email address, first, last names, your phone number. You'll click continue and that you're not a robot. And then spend a few more minutes answering several different questions about your financial history and profile. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to reach out to us. You can call my father, John Greene, Vice President of IslandProject.com at 808-442-2934. That's 808-442-2934. And then upon successfully completing the app, it'll provide our funding options. We, of course, accept ACH, wire, crypto, and other methods. And then you will sign after funding your agreement, and it will be sent to myself and team for countersignature and approval. Again, if you need any help on the way, please feel free to reach out. That direct number is 808-442-2934. And after filling out the application and signing and funding, you will be onboarded into our world-class opportunity here at islandproject.com. The digital Noah's Ark and the #1 opportunity in the world of fractional real estate ownership tokenized on the blockchain 1000x. God bless and welcome aboard the digital Noah's Ark.